I know for sure, been down this road before, a road that never seemed to end. I know for sure, I've seen it all before. What goes around is coming round again. I know for sure, been down this road before, been down this road before.
Welcome everybody to the Rope-a-Dope 2020 countdown. Let me give it a little, look at that, I can fill the screen. I said to somebody the other day, because they asked me to come to New York and do a social distance hang, and I said, well, I don't hang anymore. I'm just on screen. I'm starting to believe that that's the real me. So here I am. This is it. My name is Lewis. I'm here at the Rope-a-Dope Room, just outside the great city of Philadelphia. Welcome and thank you all for tuning in over the last few weeks for the Rope-a-Dope 2020 countdown. Have a great show prepared today where we run down many of the Rope-a-Dope songs that were released in 2020 that talk about either directly or somewhat indirectly the concepts of social justice and change, Black Lives Matter, and so on, and all of that. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to play these songs, all in honor of the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'll put the t-shirt in the frame. Welcome. I'm going to jump over and join my dear friend Fabian Brown, switch this to gallery view, and get the headphones on. Just as the heat comes on. Welcome, Fabian. How are you?
I'm doing great, Lewis. I love that shirt, by the way, my friend. I love the shirt.
It was one of those limited edition Rope-a-Dope classics from mid-2000s, and I've taken good care of it. I don't wear it too often because I want it to last, and there aren't any more. Forever and ever.
I'm really excited about the program that you put together today, both on the musical side of things, of course, you know, as we're running down 2020, and just as important, you know, what the theme of today, you know, really stands for. I think it's important that, you know, leaders in the community, you know, have dialogue and have conversation around important things, and I think the more that we bring up important topics as opposed to, you know, look, everyone likes their sports and likes this and likes that, but, you know, sometimes we just have to talk about, you know, real things. So I'm really glad that we have an opportunity here today to kind of share and connect, you know, the music, you know, to something very powerful and very meaningful on our history and what's going on, very much relevant today. So
I was super excited. I jumped out of bed this morning ready. This is really exciting. It makes it so much more fun when there's a theme and something powerful and important to discuss. So okay. I want to just give a little heads up. We'll play some music and we'll talk some more, but just setting the stage for how to approach this, we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, how we first encountered the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But I think the overarching theme is the view of historical events. History tends to flatten things out, right? And then narrative gets written around it. And, you know, there seems to be the impression when you have a holiday for the man of like he was this amazing, iconic figure that changed everything in one day. and I want to dig back through and learn a little bit myself. I didn't pre-study. I'm going to learn as I go and talk about how, because I think it's important that as participants in society, in democracy, if you will, in humanity, that we do understand that this is an ongoing struggle with steps and ups and downs. I think that's both important for our own sense of positive energy at a challenging time in the United States. So we'll break down some of the parts, but we're going to start out. Let me just jump right in. So some of these songs, just about the music, some songs I said are loosely related and some aren't. I love the title of this song. It's called Who in the Fuck Are You? Norwood Fisher and Trulio Disgracias.
black in America. I'm black in America. Although my president's black, it's a fact, it's hard being black in America. Cops bust gats in America, kill unarmed blacks in America. There's a new strange fruit, blood in the streets. We mobbing for peace, they calling us thugs. We teaching our sons to put their hands up, to put away pride and come home alive. That's black in America. How dare we talk back in America? If I should go while in custody, no, it was not suicide. I swear that to America. I swear that to America. Black in America. Black in America. Man, it's hard to be black in America. They want us on our backs in America. Black in America. Black in America. Man, it's hard to be black in America. Ronald Reagan gave us crack in America. They're jealous of our melanin. That's why they wanna treat us like a felon. We was in the motherland chillin' when some angry Europeans had to meddle in. Brought us to a country we ain't settling. Packed on these ships like some sardines. Head to head chained up in our own pee. Shit, vomit, dead bodies on me. Only way out was the jump ship. So many black bodies in the damn sea. Just to make it to a place where the slave masters put a price on me. How you gonna put me on the cellar block? Now we on the block, resort to cellar ride. Oh, we getting shot by these crooked cops. When will the bullshit stop? Black in America. Black in America. Man, it's hard to be black in America. They want us on our backs in America. Black in America. Black in America. Man, it's hard to be black in America. Ronald Reagan gave us crack in America.
came in hot.
We came in just right, Lewis.
All right.
Even the studio audience thinks so.
Oh, nice. Good to hear. Mr. Norwood Fisher, Fishbone has a place in history, not just for the music and for the messaging that was in some of that music, but also for the demonstration, for breaking the norm, right? A black punk band looking like the circuses in town. Of course, Norwood, this is a lifelong thing for Norwood Fisher. If you saw the photos in there during the song, you see this massive collective of human beings with varying complexions, and it represents the absence to me when you see that image of the general stereotypes and kinds of just personal discriminations that we make. So that's beautiful, and of course, Kin for Life. I'll let that stand as it is. That's the message. Listen to that song, find that. It's the truth. And of course, Christian Scott Atunde Ajwa from the Axiom live album, which was just named by one of the NPR correspondents as their top choice for 2020. Appreciate that. I believe that was Shannon Effinger, so thank you. But Christian actively attempting to elevate the dialogue towards a balanced blend. He's kind of like, showing the way forward musically as to how to correct the imbalance that is inherent in the musical system, as it is in many other systems. But in music, he talks extensively in an interview that we did about ancestral recall and the prioritization of European style over rhythm, and his attempt to balance that out. And that's what the future sounds like right there. It's all cultures listening to each other and expressing equally on stage. And boy, if that's the future, that's exciting. Let's chat about the issue of the day. Monday is Martin Luther King Day. We're coming into the weekend. It's time to reflect on that. What's your first recognition and understanding of Dr. King?
Mine was a little bit of a different experience. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, which is probably on the top 10 worst, cities, highest crime, murder places that you can live, right? And in an attempt to, my parents attempted not to, had me go down that road. So they enrolled me in Catholic school, like any good parents would do, right? So you have this mixed minority, black and Hispanic, going to Catholic school in West Orange, New Jersey. And I can't really put my finger on when Dr. King was presented to me in school, but I know it was in school. Yeah. But I do have memories of just, as a kid, man, just like, wow, I have a dream. It was rallying around the whole I have a dream. And the message that I received at that age was things are possible. It really left a positive, but at that time, I didn't understand the impact and the struggles and the fight that people had to put to get to that point. I mean, I knew
it led to that one moment, right, where it becomes curriculum, right? Where it's like national recognition, now it's curriculum, and that's one of the disadvantages. We all think that we make great progress, and then of course it gets distilled into a moment, a speech, a short curriculum in elementary school, and they're kind of telling you what to think.
exactly what they're doing. I mean,
Yeah.
jazz is the same way, Lewis. The curriculum of jazz is exactly what you're talking about right now. You go to jazz school, because I went to jazz school, and that's what it was. You know, you didn't really dig into the history and the fight and the struggle to make this music out there. And the
So
same thing.
yeah, so
Sorry.
a great example of that. My experience is the same. I mean, 1968. I'm 7 years old. Um, you know, we didn't have a TV at the time, so I don't even recall if I heard about Dr. King's assassination. I just remember in elementary school, okay, we're having this new curriculum, right? And of course, with my healthy disregard or disrespect for teachers, not for what they do, but for the curriculum that was kind of like, here's information that you need to have in your brain because we said that this is important. I was always skeptical of that. But it wasn't until much later that I dug in. As an adult,
Right.
I went back and and it's great that the holiday's here because it brings you back around. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to dig. And I learned about John Lewis. I learned about Selma. I learned about the Freedom Riders. I actually had the opportunity to meet one of those guys. One of our artists back in the early or mid 2000s. Her father, Barbara Geddes, her father was a Freedom Rider, and I got to chat with him for about a half an hour about his experience, and it was very real. It wasn't that the Freedom Riders did this and that's when America changed. It was, no, we were down there and we were afraid, and we had to hide out and we had to be careful. And then I learned through the Quakers. I lived out in Pennsylvania, Quaker country, right? And there was a school called Bayard Rustin High School, and I learned the history of Bayard Rustin, and that's where I started to unravel the statement of what Martin Luther King represents with the length of the struggle. So Bayard Rustin's experience is rather interesting. He's the person that conceived of the March on Washington. That was his dream. But he was pushed out because he was gay. And then you see there's a TV show out now showing Adam Clayton Powell. There was all of this, in the process of this struggle, there wasn't like one single unified train behind Dr. King. It was a bunch of different people, different agendas. Of course, you have the contrast between Malcolm X and MLK in the process of that. And they all had to figure out how to come together to get it done. And another important thing I learned was the compromises that Dr. King had to make. I think in one of the movies there's him in the White House talking with Johnson, and he just up and walks out, and half of his people were like, why are you even talking to the man? We're never gonna get it that way. And yet, that was what he saw as progress. But it was a long, lifelong, extended battle and work, and that's the message that's where I sit today with it, and I want to learn more. I also want to mention, and we'll come back and talk about this in a minute, but we just played Christian Scott Atunde Adjua, and there's a sense of peace and acceptance around that man, and it reminds me of Dr. King's interaction with the Buddhist monk known as Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh arrived in the U.S. See if I can find it real quick. There's on Thich Nhat Hanh's website, it's When Two Giants Meet, and it tells the story. But in 1966, they met in New York City. Now, Thich Nhat Hanh had dealt with the persecution and violence that was the Vietnam War and the effect that it had on his country. He spoke out against the war and was subsequently banned from his own country for almost all of his life. He's back there now, but only because they perceived that he was passing away. But Thich Nhat Hanh introduced the concept of nonviolence as a principle. to Dr. King. And Dr. King subsequently nominated Thich Nhat Hanh for a Nobel Peace Prize and got himself in a lot of hot water for doing that. But this is, this is an important piece. Violence, whether you're opposed to it on a moral basis or not, it has the effect sometimes of shifting change in the opposite direction. And I think we're seeing that right now. Most Americans don't agree with what happened at the Capitol last Wednesday. A very small number of people believe that violence is the way, and when we see that happen, it shifts our opinions away. So it brings us back to our sense of, oh, well, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Now, that said, you would think there would be less violence in the world if people could learn, but I think it's important for us to think about it and learn from it this moment. We did a thing on Juneteenth. There's history there. Dig that up. We all learned in grade school that the slaves were freed on this day. Well, that is in fact not the case, and certainly was not the case in Texas. And Juneteenth represents the day that this actually happened, where you could not legally own another human being in our country. So this is a song about that.
Must be lying, can it really be? Can't conceive it, can't believe it, but that's what they say. Slave no longer, this is Freedom Day. Freedom Day, it's Freedom Day. Roll those shackles and chains away. Everybody of my true love's hair. His face so soft and wondrous fair, the purest eyes and the strongest hands. I love the ground on where he stands. I love the ground on where he stands.
Run that down for me, Mr. Brown. Let the people know what we're listening to.
Well, we just finished hearing Jillian Margot with from her album Power Flower. The track title was Black is the Color. And right before that, we heard from our friends from New York City, Bright Dog Red, off of their album Something Comes Along. And we heard the track titled Trouble. And before that, Black Light Collective, Detroit, Michigan, I believe, with their song titled Freedom Day. And in fact, if I can just insert one little quote, I was, on Bandcamp, as I usually am, supporting and listening to music. And there was a quote there's a comment from Dr. Hanley. What a fantastic album. This is in regards to Black Light Collective. What a fantastic album. All tracks are brilliantly purchased, digital downloaded, pre-released. But after hearing Freedom Day, I was so pleased that I bought the album. Any plans for vinyl? That's the last little comment on there.
I will jump in and comment on that. And the answer, Doctor, is yes. stay tuned. Make sure you follow Blacklight Collective on Bandcamp, and announcement will be coming sometime soon.
Amazing. You know what's coming to me, Louis? First of all, we're lucky. We are very, very lucky to have the lineup and roster of artists that we have, not just for their musical capabilities and what they're communicating with their art. It's funny, man. We were talking to Sput yesterday, and he made a quick comment. I'm not even sure if you caught it, but he said something. You know, I'm paraphrasing, of course. He said something like, we're pretty much all activists now. And he said it, and he just kept going on with this conversation. But what really came to me in the moment is these musicians and artists, they have a very powerful voice, and if they use their voice to continue to share positivity and light and love, but also communicate effectively the things of the past and the things of the ways that we can heal today in the present and in the future. I think that's really important and a big responsibility nowadays for a lot of musicians and artists.
Yeah, well, dialogue is what we can contribute, and we are going to continue as we approach Black History Month. Speaking of Sput, we're going to do a re-release of the incredible album King's List, where he ran down and did songs that were Dr. King's favorites. So stay tuned for that. That'll happen on Friday, February 5th. We will have 3 hours dedicated to that discussion and some conversations with Sput and several other notable and interesting people. Part of dialogue, the most important part of dialogue, is listening, and I'm getting better at it. But these process of community, we all kind of think we all know the same things, but we have very different experiences. And when you hear another person's experience, it allows you to expand your own understanding. This is the opposite of the news, right? It's dialogue, and that comment is so appropriate because as I was saying earlier, when history distills things down to a person or a moment, it takes away from all the work that went into it. And it's we're pushing rocks uphill. And the thing about pushing rocks uphill is that until you're over the top, there's still a rock above you. Okay, and if anybody lets go and thinks that we're close to the top, or we can't really even see the top yet. And that's kind of what it's a great description of, I think, what happened. We felt like we pushed the rock uphill and over the mountain, but there were apparently 77 million Americans on the other side of the rock trying to push it back downhill, right? So it's time for everybody to pull. And of course, we don't know what to do. That part of this, and just winging it here, is we don't know what to do. So we just start talking about it, and we'll listen to the music, talk about it, and see how and what we can do. But I'll tell you what, it's going to take everybody. And I brought in Thich Nhat Hanh for a reason. I want to read a quote here real quickly. Thich Nhat Hanh came to the United States to talk to Dr. King about the war in Vietnam, and to ask him to come out against it. And after their meeting and discussion, a year after their first meeting, they met in Chicago. Oh no, this is their first meeting in Chicago, apparently. Or no, they met in Chicago for the first time, so it was after their first meeting. Ty describes the meeting, quote, "We had a discussion about peace, freedom, and community, and we agreed that without a community, we cannot go very far." And subsequently, Dr. King did come out against the Vietnam War, and his advisors who told him not to do that were correct in a way. But what we're left with is this concept of nonviolence and community. I don't underestimate the challenge of it, the difficulty of it. It's very hard for humans to come together. But I don't underestimate the power of it either. And so that's what we're pushing forward to do. I want to move on with another song, and this is bearing witness to what is happening on the streets in America. I will step back a second and say shout out to Detroit and Dave McMurray and Blacklight Collective, and I'm very happy to see that there is forward motion on the issue of the mass poisoning of black families in Detroit through the water system and through the disregard by the people who did that. And so we're going to address that issue, I hope, in the courts. But there are also things happening on the street that we need to get to. And this is the worst piece of tangled up chords you've ever seen in your life, right? And you can't throw the whole thing out. We need to pull this stuff apart. We need to figure it out. We need to separate what's what and get into it. But here's a song, and songs that bear witness are a good step, because if you listen, I mean, this song isn't just for folks who agree with the line. This is for folks who don't understand and may not think that there's a problem on the streets in America with unarmed black men being shot. And listen to his impassioned plea here. This is Gordon Campbell and the featured vocalist. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
Gene Noble.
Gene Noble. Yep. I almost went to Geno Young. Some things get stuck in your mind sometimes. Gene Noble. Fantastic track.
You want war and I want peace, but I'll fight you in these streets. If it means one less mother's gotta cry tonight. I got hope, but you got guns, and they're pointed at my sons. So I gotta switch up real quick, or I won't survive. We get no justice, and we take too much. Here's the wall. Hey, there's no mistake. Every life you take, the same men you want for me is gonna be a fall. Yeah. How much more can we take till we rise up and say, whoa, too many lost. Show respect for my life, and we all will survive. Whoa, too many lost. Yeah. I don't have another cheek. Yeah. And I don't have a prayer to speak. Yeah. But I got a promise to keep. Yeah. Yeah. I wanna call this place my home, but I just don't feel safe alone. Yeah. Imagine how that takes a toll. Yeah. We get no justice, and we take too much. You keep pushing till I'm backed up against the wall. Hey, there's no mistake. Every life you take, the same men you want for me is gonna be a fall. Yeah. How much more can we take
free. I'm not interested in your setup. Sorry, there's nothing in it for me. Time to get up. My territory ain't your territory. You very corny. Don't try to say it's better for me. Who's in the right? You wanna just kick off your shoes in my house and just do what you like. Like you don't see us, you're losing your sight. We used to be nice, now we feuding, taking sides.
Big country red folks here, way before you stepped in. Whoa, whoa, with your rubber bullets and Babylon plumbing. It's a rebellion. It's in our minds. People have the right to say what's on their mind. It's a rebellion. It ain't a truce. A revolution. Ripping off the roof.
Who gave the right to make you authority? The system need to make some changes, or war will be the answer. Understand we've been cordial, we can't afford to. Your cause is immoral. Don't be an idiot, some stuff is basic. Who the one who dangerous, calling us troublemakers? Taking over acres like ain't nothing sacred. Now it's a riot scene, a bad situation. Yeah.
Time creeps no sleep. Running on 2 cylinders in the hilly street. Road closed, no way out from now. And the land is our land. And you got to go now. Ha 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 wow.
All right, we are back. It's a rebellion. Mr. Brown, what do you think?
Here's what comes to mind. I'm extremely grateful for, well, first of all, for you, Lewis, for just having the inspiration and what's the word I'm fishing for, man? Maybe the gumption to, as the CEO of a record label, to put yourself out front and to share with the world an important message of music, of love, and just community and bringing people together. I want to thank all of the beautiful artists that we have on this label who selflessly, share the music with the world and have a very powerful message behind that. Thanking all the fans for just tuning in and watching and supporting, these cats in a very difficult and trying time. And what's coming to me now, Lewis, to be quite honest, is a hope and maybe a thought and prayer of continued conversation. I got kids, man, right? So it's very challenging to raise biracial kids in the world that we live today. And living in the United States and with all the things that are going on. And as much as we don't really turn on the news, they're very hip and aware to their surroundings and what's happening. So my message and my hope is that people continue to have the conversations with your kids, and people continue to seek the truth and have dialogue. It's not easy. You made a great analogy moments ago. It's a tangled web of cables and cords, and we can't throw it out. We just can't. We need every single cord. We have to take the time to unravel it. And I think the beginning of that process is really as simple as coming together and having intelligent conversations around the matters of today. So thank you for giving us a platform.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's nothing really. It's a strange coincidence that my life left the financial and business world and went into activism, and then ended up back here again with this microphone and the times that we're in. So some of the things that I've learned over the years are actually relevant to the conversation, which I'm just super thrilled to have happen. I wanted to read a quote, one last thing here from Dr. King. There's so many good ones, but I think this one gets to this point. We must learn to live together as brothers, or perish together as fools. And I think that's the message. That's where we are. As you take time over this weekend, holiday weekend, I don't know if people call it that, but I do and will now. This is the MLK weekend, and it's a great time to think about, learn about these issues. I wanted to say one last thing. It's like there's this vibe that you get, this helplessness that comes in of like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't understand enough or have enough power to know what to do. So your answer is in that statement. The answer, for me at least, and I recommend it for others, is in that statement is, I don't know what to do. So if you acknowledge that you don't know what to do, the next step is to find out what to do. We've acknowledged that you don't know, so now go on the path towards knowing what to do. And for each person, it's different, and you can't sit there. I tend to do it. I'm like, well, what am I doing? I'm just sitting in a room talking on the camera. I'm not really doing anything, but what I've learned is this is my starting point. I know I can do this, and if a couple people vibe with it, and a couple of people listen and go, you know what, let me rethink this thing, then I'm doing what I was supposed to do in this process. But the key is persistence. There's no like walk away from it. You can't walk away from pushing rocks uphill. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous, as we're finding out, right? So, Mr. Brown, thank you. Thank you for being a friend, for being so positive, and for joining, and all the work that you do for Rope It Up and for these artists, and really appreciate you. And thanks to the fans. Stay close, man. Stay close. Communicate with us. We want to talk to you. We want to hear from you. We want to circle the wagons. We want to, further connect this family, not for the purpose of the brand, but for the purpose of building some kind of community that can contribute to the larger community in a bigger way. So we'll leave it with that. And we're going to go out and we're going to see you on February 5th, the Rope-a-Dope Music and Arts Festival, where we will be running some film, but we're also going to take the second day of the festival on February 5th and dedicate it to Black History, Black Heritage Month, as I heard it called yesterday, which I like better than Black History Month. And we're going to return and talk about these issues. So join us. We are going out with a track from
Mr. Clifton Anderson, and beautiful track titled, excuse me, I lost my place here.
Been Down This Road Before.
Been down this road before.
Yes,
Thanks
we
a lot.
have. Yes, we have. Andy Bay on the vocal. Thank you, everyone. Downloads.ropeadope.com is a place where you can go and support music directly and get high-quality downloads, CDs, vinyl, etc. And please put on your calendars February 5th. We'll talk to you then.
I know for sure, been down this road before, a road that never seemed to end. I know for sure, I've seen it all before. What goes around is coming round again. I know for sure. Been down this road before. Been down this road before. I heard some old folks tell the story about the way things used to be. It sounded like they were describing the world today. So sad to say, I know for sure. Been down this road before. The same old story, just a different day. I know for sure. Been down this road before. Been down this road before. I heard somebody say that they don't like the way some people look or pray. Stand your ground, ask questions later. Okay to shoot them down, long as they're black or brown. We need a change today to find a better way. I know for sure. Been down this road before. A road that never seems to end. I know for sure. I've seen it all before. What goes around is coming around again. I know for sure. Been down this road before. Been down this road before. I know for sure that only love can cure, as history repeats itself. And then I know for sure it's time to close the door. And if not now, then who knows where or when. I know